A very good morning to our viewers. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. Let's get started with the top headlines. President, Vice President and Prime Minister laud ISRO for successful launch of South Asia satellite. SAARC leaders excluding Pakistan jointly celebrate. Centre declares entire Assam as disturbed area under AFSPA for 3 months. Move after violent activities by insurgent groups. Nepal Supreme Court reinstates country's first woman Chief Justice, directs Parliament to halt her impeachment. Big gains for Britain's Conservative Party in local elections, shot in the arm for May ahead of the next month's parliamentary polls. And India fails to make it to the final of the AZLAN SHAH hockey tournament, lose to hosts Malaysia to take on New Zealand for bronze medal playoff today. The GSAT-9 was launched successfully from Sriharikota on Friday. The satellite will be networked with all the SAARC countries except Pakistan, who did not come on board, citing its own space program. The South Asia satellite was described by Prime Minister Narendra Modi as India's priceless gift to its neighbours.
South Asia satellite, also known as the GSAT-09 communication satellite, blasted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota at 4:57 p.m. on Friday, going into orbit 36,000 kilometers above. The satellite, which is India's gift to its neighboring countries, was launched using the fully indigenous geostationary launch vehicle Mark II. The 28-hour countdown for the launch began on Thursday. Set to propel regional cooperation between SAARC member nations to new levels, GSAT-09's successful launch is a huge boost to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's neighbourhood first policy.
7, 8, 9.
We have just transported South Asia satellite, a communication satellite, from Earth to geostationary transfer orbit using our geostationary launch vehicle Mark II that makes use of indigenously developed cryogenic engine. The satellite operations and control will be carried out from our master control facility Hassan, and in the coming few weeks the satellite will reach its destination of the geostationary orbit.
Built by ISRO, the South Asia satellite weighs 2,230 kilograms and has 12 Ku band transponders. The cost of the satellite is 235 crore rupees. It is cuboid in shape and built around a central cylinder with a mission life of over 12 years. This satellite will enable full range of applications and services in the areas of telecommunication, disaster management support, DTH, teleeducation and telemedicine. The satellite was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the 2014 SAARC summit in Nepal. The South Asia satellite program, entirely funded by India, is a partnership between India and other members of the SAARC group, excluding Pakistan, which opted out of it, citing its own space program. Aruna Thakur's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The satellite launch extends Prime Minister Modi's Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas concept, also focusing on his neighbourhood first policy, targeting India's South Asian neighbours. After the launch, the leaders of all the SAARC nations, excluding Pakistan, came together via video conferencing for a joint address. Let's listen in to what they had to say.
Today is a historic day for South Asia, a day without precedents. 2 years ago, India made a promise to extend the advanced space technology for the cause of growth and prosperity of our brothers and sisters in South Asia. The successful launch of the South Asia satellite marks the fulfillment of that.
I congratulate you and the Government of India for successful launching of South Asia satellite. I am glad that just a few days ago we have signed Orbital Frequency Agreement for Cooperation in South Asia Satellite. I strongly believe that the betterment of the people of South Asian region depends on fruitful engagement in various fields of cooperation between the countries of this region.
The gap between talk and action is bridged today. The imperative of regional cooperation is changed to the reality. The advantages of cooperation outweigh the advantages of competition, and in the world of cooperation, we have to win a world for the poor, for the excluded, for the deprived.
The launch of the South Asia satellite today is an historic moment for the world. It is historic because this is the first time that a country has launched a satellite for the free use of its neighbors. The launch of this satellite is an impressive milestone in the history of the world, one that ushers in a new era of regional cooperation.
The launching of this satellite signifies India's neighborhood first policy and the vision and commitment of Prime Minister Modi towards the development and prosperity of the South Asia region. In November 2014, during the 18th SAARC summit, when Prime Minister Modi announced the launching of the South Asia satellite, the people of Maldives and I accepted the priceless gift, as I was fully convinced that it would help address a host of issues facing the region.
This is a testimony to South Asia becoming self-reliant in space science. We are confident that this would enhance connectivity among South Asian countries. Connectivity is key to the development. Nepal looks forward to making best use of this facility.
As government, it is our duty to provide the people the means towards a happy and prosperous life. In that regard, I hope that this initiative will support the people in the whole region by enhancing their economic and social conditions, by alleviating poverty and improving the standard of living.
Meanwhile, congratulating the Indian Space Research Organization on the successful launch of the South Asia satellite, President Pranab Mukherjee said that the launch will help India cement its ties with its neighbours. In a congratulatory message to A.S. Kiran Kumar, the Secretary of the Department of the Space and ISRO Chairman, President Pranab Mukherjee said, and I quote, "The launch of the South Asia satellite, which enables a range of services in the areas of telecommunication and broadcasting, will go a long way in meeting the developmental needs of the countries of South Asia. I am confident that the project will promote friendship and cooperation and help further cement ties between India and her neighbours." Unquote. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari also congratulated ISRO on the successful launch of the South Asia geostationary communication satellite. He said that the satellite will boost connectivity and cooperation among all participating SAARC countries. He also added that the flawless launch demonstrates India's capabilities in geosynchronous satellite launching. On to some more developments, the Supreme Court on Friday upheld the death sentence of the 4 convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape case. The court observed that the case seemed to be a story of some different world. The next option for the convicts is to appeal against their death sentence to President Pranab Mukherjee.
The Supreme Court on Friday upheld the death sentence for 4 convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case. Terming it as the rarest of rare case, the apex court said the convicts treated the victim as an object of enjoyment with the single purpose of ravishing her. The apex court also called it the most brutal and barbaric attack and said the offence had sent a tsunami of shock all over.
जिस एग्रावेटिंग और ब्रूटैलिटी से ये क्राइम हुआ है, इसका ये लिस्ट ऑफ रेयर केसेस में आता है। ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो पहले की जजमेंट है, जिसमें क्लियर लिखा है कि कलेक्टिव कॉन्शियस ऑफ द सोसाइटी अगर शॉक करती है तो रेयरेस्ट और रेयर इवेंट में आता है। तो उसमें लेते हुए ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो हाई कोर्ट की जजमेंट थी डेथ पेनल्टी की, उसको अपहोल्ड किया और इनकी अपीलों को डिसमिस कर दिया है।
The 3-judge bench headed by Justice Deepak Mishra also commended the work of the Delhi police for bringing the criminals to book. The top court said scientific evidence had established the criminal conspiracy against the accused, while also stating that the convicts tried to destroy evidence by trying to run over the victim and her friend.
दिल्ली पुलिस का जो प्रोफेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, that stands vindicated. और जो निर्भया केस जो शायद one of the most gruesome in the human history, और दिल्ली पुलिस ने इसे बिट बाय बिट प्रोफेशनल तरीके से इसको इन्वेस्टिगेट किया और आज इस मुकाम पे पहुंचा है.
Nirbhaya's parents welcomed the verdict, stating that justice may have been delayed but not denied.
ये बहुत बड़ा फैसला था. यहाँ पे एक भगवान के बाद यही स्थान होता है, तो मुझे उम्मीद थी कि डर तो था, लेकिन डर से ज़्यादा हमें विश्वास था कि जिस तरह से क्राइम हुआ है वो उनको सज़ा ज़रूर मिलेगी. हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि इस फैसले से, जैसे कहते थे लोग कि मैं निर्भया की तरह तुम्हें कर दूंगा, निर्भया की तरह मार दूंगा, तो आज उनको भी जवाब मिला कि मैं निर्भया की तरह अगर किसी के साथ करूंगा तो निर्भया की तरह हमें फांसी की सज़ा भी मिलेगी.
The defense lawyer, however, said the convicts should be given another chance and that they will now proceed with a review petition.
समाज में मैसेज के लिए किसी को फांसी नहीं दे सकते. पनिशमेंट का अर्थ है, पनिशमेंट का मतलब है सुधार, उसे सुधारा जाए. महात्मा गांधी के सिद्धांत की तो धज्जियां उड़ गई. महात्मा गांधी जी ने कहा था नॉन वायलेंस, अहिंसा होनी चाहिए, अहिंसा है. ह्यूमन राइट्स की तो धज्जियां उड़ गई. जीने का अधिकार है, जो जीवन देता है वही जीवन ले सकता है.
The apex court's decision was also welcomed by women activists and political parties.
The Supreme Court today, by giving death sentence to all the rapists of Nirbhaya, they have in a way emboldened all the Nirbhayas in this country and given a very tight slap to all the rapists.
भारत के कानून में जो रेयरेस्ट ऑफ द रेयर केस में फांसी की सजा का प्रावधान है, तो आज कोर्ट ने निर्णय किया है. मैं इससे खुद बहुत ही सुकून महसूस करता हूं और आज के दिन निर्भया की आत्मा को अपनी ओर से विनम्र संवेदना.
Judgment will create the fear of law in the mind of people who think they can get away with anything. They will realize that the arm of law is very long and it is not possible always to get away.
On the night of December 16, 2012, Nirbhaya, a 23-year-old paramedic, was brutally assaulted and raped by 6 persons in a moving bus. A fast-track court sentenced 4 convicts to death that was upheld by the Delhi High Court. One of the accused, Ram Singh, allegedly committed suicide in the Tihar jail, while a convicted juvenile was sentenced to 3 years of punishment in a reform home. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some more national developments. In a move to clamp down on the broadcast of anti-India propaganda in the Kashmir rally, INB Minister Venkaiah Naidu has asked the J&K government to take immediate steps to stop unauthorized airing of Pakistani and Saudi Arabian channels in the state. The centre has the local administration in Kashmir has the right to confiscate the equipment of the cable operators for allegedly airing the channels and take action against them. Stating that the government has sent an advisory, Union Minister Rajya underlined that such advisories are regularly sent by the centre on unauthorized channels. There are reports that over 50 Saudi and Pakistani channels, besides Zakir Naik's banned Peace TV, are allegedly running without necessary clearances via private cable operators in Kashmir. The initiative is taken in the backdrop of Friday's incident when militants attacked an army patrol, leaving a civilian dead and 3 other personnel injured. Door-to-door search of houses, which was stopped in the late 1990s, was reintroduced yesterday in more than a dozen villages in Shopian district.
एडवाइजरी हम भेज चुके हैं. अगर कश्मीर में इस तरह की कोई रिपोर्ट है तो वहाँ के जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर हैं, वहाँ पे जो ऑथराइज्ड जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स हैं, वो पूरा का पूरा उनका इक्विपमेंट कन्फिस्केट कर सकते हैं और उसके ऊपर एक्शन ले सकते हैं.
While the centre has declared entire Assam as a disturbed area under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act or AFSPA, this will continue for 3 months and has been done citing various violent activities by insurgent groups, ULFA, NDFB and others. In a Gazette notification, the Home Ministry said that the entire Assam, besides bordering areas of Meghalaya, have been declared disturbed under the AFSPA for 3 months with effect from May 3rd. The ministry said that there will be 75 incidents of violence in Assam in 2016, in which 33 people, including 4 security personnel, were killed and 14 others were abducted. Besides, there were 9 violent incidents in the state in which 4 people, including 2 security personnel, were killed in 2017. AFSPA has been continuing in Assam since November 1990. In another notification, the ministry declared 3 states of Arunachal Pradesh, Tirap, Changlang and Longding, besides areas falling under 16 police stations bordering Assam as disturbed area under the AFSPA for 3 more months. AFSPA has been under force in the 3 Arunachal Pradesh districts since January 2016. A look at what else is making news across the nation and nationwide. As many as 41 students were admitted to a hospital today after they fell ill due to the gas leakage from a depot in southeast Delhi's Tughlakabad area. Police and ambulances have reached the spot. Police officials are trying to find out the cause of the leak ahead of the reshuffle in the council's Ahead of the reshuffle in the councils of ministers, Odisha Assembly Speaker Niranjan Pujari resigned from his position on Friday. He cited his interest to spend more time with the people of his constituency. Sources said that various other ministers are likely to resign. The Kerala government reinstated senior IPS officer T.P. Senkumar as the state DGP Law and Order. On a day, the Supreme Court dismissed the state's clarification petition on his appointment with cause. According to the Apex Court, he was transferred by the LDF government unfairly and arbitrarily. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy has announced that all the sand quarries in the state would be closed down in 3 years and the government mining, storing and selling of sand at cheaper rates. Palaniswamy said that government would urge builders to use an alternative to sand. Illegal sand mining has led not only to the fall in the water level in riverbeds and basins, but also affected flow of rivers across the state. With that, we'll slip into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. The centre has asked the Aam Aadmi Party to furnish details of its overseas funding to its following suspicion of the violation of law. In a communication, the Ministry of Home Affairs asked the Arvind Kejriwal-led party to explain certain fundings from abroad after suspecting that the party might have violated the provisions of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. The MHA has said that the communication to the Aam Aadmi Party was a part of its routine queries sent to a few other political parties regarding overseas funding to them. The ministry has clarified that it is not a show cause notice and a decision on it would be taken only after the Aam Aadmi Party submits its reply. The Aam Aadmi Party has reacted to the move, calling it a political witch hunt and a danger for democracy. Meanwhile, the government has proposed rules to penalize unruly air travellers. The DGCA's draft rules that were issued on Friday considered a range of disturbances for which passengers may be barred from travelling for 3 months to 2 years. The government has invited suggestions from the public for the rules that it wants to implement from July.
On March 23rd, Shiv Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad allegedly beat up an Air India employee, after which all domestic airlines banned him from travelling. The matter was settled after the government intervened. Barely 6 weeks after the incident, the government is coming up with new rules for a no-fly list. Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju says passengers who figure on the list could be barred from air travel for 3 months to 2 years.
And that is that there is no other country in the world that actually has a national no-fly list that is based on safety. There are no-fly lists around the world that are based on security, where there are people that are seen to be grave threats and therefore they are not allowed to fly. But to have a national no-fly list where we've identified individuals that because of their unruly and disruptive behavior are jeopardizing airline safety will in fact be quite unique, and India is blazing a new trail in this regard.
The list will have 3 levels of unruly passengers. The first category includes passengers indulging in disruptive behavior who will be banned for 3 months. The second will have passengers indulging in physical abuse or sexual harassment. They can be banned for 6 months. The last category will have people indulging in life-threatening behavior who will be banned for 2 years. Passengers who enter the no-fly list can approach a 3-member committee headed by a High Court judge that will decide their case within 10 days. The last resort, passengers can approach an appeals committee as well.
एयरलाइन खुद इसमें कोई कदम नहीं उठा सकती, सिर्फ 10 दिन के लिए एयरलाइन उसको बैन कर सकती। 10 दिन के बाद अगर इस कमिटी का निर्णय आना ही आना है और उस कमेटी के निर्णय के अनुसार होगा, और कमेटी जो है स्टैंडिंग कमेटी वो एयरलाइन के कंट्रोल की कमेटी नहीं है, उसमें रिटायर्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज उसमें चेयरमैन है और एक अन्य एयरलाइन का कोई अधिकारी वो उसका सदस्य है। इस एयरलाइन का नहीं, किसी अन्य एयरलाइन का अधिकारी इसका सदस्य है। और इसके अलावा जो कंज्यूमर एसोसिएशंस हैं या पैसेंजर एसोसिएशन है उसका एक जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा वो इसमें सदस्य होगा।
The draft rules also propose that passenger information can be recorded on the basis of passport or any other identity card produced at the time of booking tickets. The DGCA has sought public opinion on these draft rules on its website and plans to introduce them from July. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And shifting our focus on the international front, Nepal's Supreme Court has reinstated the country's first woman Chief Justice, Sushila Karki. It has also directed Parliament to halt her impeachment. Chief Justice Karki returned to office hours after Nepal's Supreme Court's interim order. A single-member bench issued the order stating that the impeachment move was against the spirit of Nepal's constitution. The order was in response to a writ petition against the motion to impeach Karki. The impeachment motion against Karki was registered in Parliament by 2 major ruling parties that accused her of interfering with the executive and issuing prejudiced verdicts. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Supreme Court on Friday set up a high-level 6-member joint investigation team to probe Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his son's alleged corruption in the Panama Papers case. A 3-member panel of judges reviewed the names submitted by various departments that had been ordered to do so by the Apex Court's April 20th verdict in the case. The court also ordered the Pakistan government to provide all necessary funds for the JIT to carry out the investigation, including an initial amount of 20 million rupees. The JIT members have been given the authority to engage and associate local and foreign experts to facilitate the investigation. The JIT is bound to complete the probe in 60 days unless it is granted additional time. The next hearing has been scheduled for May 22, 2017. Britain's Conservative Party made huge gains in local elections on Friday, suggesting that Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit strategy is winning over voters for the parliamentary polls next month. The results mark the biggest gains by the ruling party in a local election in the UK in nearly 4 decades. The Conservatives gained more than 500 seats and bagged 11 extra councils. Opposition Labour Party suffered losses in many of the council seats, but the biggest losers were the far-right UK Independent Party, which lost all of its seats. May said that she will be fighting every day to earn the support of the British people and to strengthen her hand in negotiations with EU. I beg your pardon, with European Commission over the Brexit. A total of 4,851 council seats were up for grabs in 88 council. The results are being described as a precedent to voting trends for the 8th June snap polls, with Theresa May set to sweep to victory.
That this is a government that works for the whole country, and it is encouraging that we have won support across the whole of the United Kingdom. But I will not take anything for granted, and neither will the team I lead, because there is too much at stake. This is not about who wins and who loses in the local elections. It is about continuing to fight for the best Brexit deal for families and businesses across the United Kingdom, to lock in the economic progress we've made and get on with the job of making a success of the years ahead.
And leading French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron's campaign said on Friday that it has been a target of the massive hacking attack after thousands of emails and other files from the campaign were released online. The Macron campaign said that some genuine files were mixed with the fake ones in order to confuse people, and that it was clear that hackers wanted to undermine Macron ahead of Sunday's second round vote. The document dump came just over a day before the voting is set to begin, and a few hours before candidates are legally required to stop campaigning. The documents were leaked on a file-sharing website that allows anonymous posting. It was not clear immediately who was responsible for posting the data or if any of it was genuine. Opinion polls show independent centrist Macron is set to beat National Front candidate Marine Le Pen in an election billed as the most important in France in decades. A look at what else is making news around the world and World Wrap. North Korea on Friday accused the US Central Intelligence Agency and South Korea's intelligence services of a failed plot to assassinate its leader Kim Jong-un with a biochemical bomb at a military parade in Pyongyang. The CIA and the White House declined to comment on the statement. According to the Pakistani and Afghan officers, troops on both the sides exchanged fire for several hours on Friday along their disputed border. Pakistan's census team, guarded by the troops from its frontier course, was collecting population data in a village near the border town of Chaman in Balochistan province when they came under fire. 9 people have been killed and 45 have been injured. Around 200 prisoners in Indonesia broke out of an overcrowded jail in Sumatra Island on Friday. They reportedly teared down a gate near the mosque in the prison complex after being allowed out of their cells to pray. Inmates had complained about their treatment in the jail in Pekanbaru in the Riau province and accused some guards of being violent. According to the police, 77 inmates have been recaptured. And on to sports, India lost 0-1 to Malaysia in their last Sultan Azlan Shah Cup Hockey Tournament League match on Friday. India failed to make an impression on the Malaysian defenders. After a listless first quarter, India earned 3 penalty corners in the next 15 minutes, but Malaysian goalkeeper Subramaniam Kumar didn't let the ball go past him. Going all out in search of goals, India made 3 forays into the rival circle in the last 4 minutes and even earned 2 penalty corners, but the Malaysians stoutly defended their citadel. Needing to win by the 2-goal margin after Great Britain beat New Zealand 3-2, India failed to produce a cohesive game and lost to the host and thereby ended their hopes of making it to the final. With 7 points from 5 matches, India will take on New Zealand in the bronze medal playoff match today. The final will be played between the defending champions Australia and the Great Britain. This was India's second loss in the league stage, having lost to Australia earlier this week. And 4th seed Shiva Thapa and unseeded Sumit Sangwan continue to pack a powerful punch at the Asian Boxing Championships, advancing to the final with a contrasting victories. While Thapa stunned Olympic bronze medalist and top-seeded Mongolian opponent in a split verdict, Sangwan also stomped past the 2nd seed in the semi-finals. However, middleweight top seed Vikas Krishan settled for a bronze medal after giving a walkover in the semi-finals to the 4th-seeded Korean Lee Dong-hyung. The Boxing Federation of India will question Vikas Krishan on his decision to give a walkover in the Asian Championship semi-finals, the reasons for which are yet not clear. Vikas, a 2-time Olympian, is among the most decorated Indian boxers. He is the 2010 Asian Games gold medalist, besides being a World Championships bronze medalist. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Keep watching Rajya Sabha television.